Welcome to Watch for Falling Meteors. We are at session 36. Everyone just commenting about how long we've been playing this game. We're only level 7, so I'm a stingy DM apparently.
I blame the DM.
I mean, if you think about it though, our sessions are half of the expected, so really, like, this should be like session 17 or so, which that's not too bad for level 7. So, we will get a quick wrap up from or recap from Scott, and then we'll get back into it.
All right. Well, we started off the adventure going through the window. I guess we had already gone through the window into Duke Karamikos' hunting lodge, wrapping up the rest of the ne'er-do-wells. We managed to find the Duke and save him and get him to his room, where he started to don his stuff. And then his guard came up and kind of relieved us of our duty. We needed to find Skarda, so we ran around the place looking for Skarda. We saw an old man out in the east area who told us that Skarda was downstairs. We ran out downstairs. Anyway, we went out of the main entrance to the hunting lodge, and we found Skarda surrounded by 6 of his elite guards and inside a globe of invulnerability. We didn't know that at the time, but we kind of figured something was up because he had this big pink dome flying all over him. He also had a wand and a couple of other things that we thought were going to be pretty nasty. We tried to split up the best we can, but we didn't split up quite far enough. A couple of shots went through the dome, arrow shots, but they were deflected by a shield spell. We caught a fireball into the teeth, and that's when Karnan was able to hit Skarda and drop that dome of invulnerability, which was huge for us because we were pretty ripped up from that fireball. Weedall was able to get around and managed to score a crit on Skarda, but that wasn't quite enough to drop them. Gamelon cast a fireball on the whole group. Gamelon cast a fireball on the enemies, but Skarda had another trick up his sleeve and dispelled it, but that's okay, because Nace was there with the Eldritch Blast right into the teeth. Skarda was done. At that point, his elite guards gave up. It's about this time that the mirror world, something must have happened to that mirror on the other side, because everything within that realm started depositing out on the plains. Thousands and thousands of refugees, a bunch of equipment, garbage, just everything strewn all over the place. The Duke of Karamikos decided that his next major issue was going to be the care and the relocation of those refugees. And eventually, the other magistrates and nobles of the realm joined for a big feast and celebration, and that's when the Duke has announced that he is going to reward the party with an airship. So, back to Jason.
Almost completely accurate.
Almost got it completely. Maybe the airship was a little bit of a misnomer.
Poetic license.
Yeah, well, I'm telling a story. The Duke has actually said that he would reward us with whatever was in his power to grant, and that we could forestall and not pick something, and to 100 years his great-grandchildren would remember the promise and make our dreams come true.
That's right. So, after giving that speech, he was standing before, he had moved out from the tables and is walking basically down the table that you 5 are sitting at, and he stops and looks to Gamelon, gives a fancy introduction about the turtle from the west, and asks what it is that he can grant you.
Yes. Well, our victory was hard fought, see, but really it was a victory not of us of our own, but of those watching over us. So as for myself, I have no strong need, but if you have a shrine or a church of Ixion here, I'd appreciate a boon to build it up and help those folks who will need it more than I do. But I do have something I think might be useful to you as well. And I will.
He seems surprised.
I will pull out.
Like there's a genuine look of, like, surprise on his face.
I'll pull out Crash, who's that old mace that I've been carrying around for some time. So this fella here, he don't look like much, but he's got a little bit of sentience to him. And seeing how you was fooled once before by an advisor, he can help you forestall that in the future by sensing emotions and ill will towards you if you hold him in your hands.
He hesitantly reaches out for it and takes it from you. This is remarkable. Truly, for someone foreign to our lands, you've seemed to hold a genuine care as to the welfare of those around you. He turns around and he's searching the crowd for someone, and then you can see he spots him, and you see a familiar old man with a salt and pepper beard. He looks a little different, wearing more regal clothing than he did the last time you saw him, but Sir Baron Sherlane of Threshold nods and stands up, and the Duke continues. Sherlane, as the ranking cleric among my lands, I think it would only be fitting that you would be the one to grant this, then. And he nods and he says, yes, we'll see to it that your own church is erected within your settlement. We will cover all of the costs, and you can bring new followers. This will be good. He holds up his drink. Everybody else holds up their drink, and they drink to it. The out-of-character version, there will be a church added to your... It's currently a hamlet. Oh, by the way, let me share the map. Get a little surprise here. Boop.
Oh,
Are we added?
It's actually a little hamlet now instead of just a circle.
Oh, busy's
So-
been busy.
You guys actually have something going there. They will, but Sherlane will coordinate with the Duke and begin moving materials and constructing a church that you will be in charge of. You will be the priest in charge of the church. You can expect acolytes and followers. It will probably attract some men-at-arms looking to, or fighters and or knights looking to become paladins, or paladins already that are looking for, a home. So that can be expected. Let me get some notes here for that. Jesus, Busy had so many notes. It's ridiculous. All right.
a fine boon indeed. For one who looks out for us to help us look out for others.
Let's see. Let's see. Gamelon. Granted permission to set up a church in Karamikos. Cost to build covered by Stefan. Actually, I should say Karamikos because Stefan's not specific enough. Otherwise, Steve might have a problem with being out of money. Okay, so there's a lot of cheering. He turns and nods to you, says, this was a very wise request, one that I'm more than happy to grant, and I look forward to having another powerful cleric in my lands. The only thing I will say to you is some responsibility comes with this. In times of need, the people of this land will look to you as they look to the Baron.
I'll be there to the best of my ability so long as I'm around.
Wonderful. He explains to you quickly, he's like, the deeds will be drawn out, the paperwork, and your titles of nobility will be created. This will make you literally part of the court.
Fantastic.
Still not a knight, but part of the court. and you'll be recognized as a noble by others. Okay, so he continues down the table. The next person is Karnan. He studies you for a moment. And then finally he speaks up. Speaking of foreigners, you're closer to our lands than a turtle from across the savage coast, but still not human. Yet you came and fought valiantly to protect me, to protect the innocent. That is a noble deed. I am told that you hail from Kenilbarth Forest. I've known many elves from those areas. The Kalari have settled in the Riflian woods. The Radleb woods. And you are always welcome in these lands. But tell me, Karnan, what can I grant you? You're on mute.
Microphone?
Yeah, a new mic.
A new
Yes,
car.
Ability to click mute at appropriate times. I've thought long and hard, and the only thing that I can think to request is that if you have any of your people, your soldiers who would like to accompany us, that you would be willing to allow us to make use of, to join our party and provide us some additional skills and camaraderie throughout our trip.
He turns. He's stunned. Twice I am left speechless. I expected money, jewels, magical weaponry, and they seek companionship, more ways to protect others. Truly, this is amazing. He turns and says, "Who do we have?" As they look, you see Lady Penhaligon stands. She says, "I have watched these adventurers over so short a time accomplish so much, and as I see their burgeoning dominion, while I don't have an individual I can offer, I would gladly assist in sending part of my forces to help establish your domain. I would loan them to you for 7 years, at which time they will have, on a wage you've earned, return and proceed to however they wish with their forces, if this would be satisfactory."
Yep.
She turns and says something to one of her people, and he looks back. I would offer you 150 men from my forces, of assorted means, as well as stablemen, support staff, cooks, your own beginnings of an army, so that my allies might be able to come to me in my time of need.
That would be very appreciated and would help us to continue to establish our dominion there in Windrush and be able to defend it while we are out.
Oh, you guys
Adventuring.
received an animal messenger, by the way. It actually wasn't an animal. It was a little clockwork squirrel that came to you in the night. It ran up to probably Nace. But when it ran up to you, it chittered and barked, and its mouth opened up and quit moving, and then Busy's voice came out of it to let you know that, one, he's continued to maintain everything. The trading post is completed, as well as he started basic constructions of roads, and he's got some settlers moving in. And he thought it was time to officially name the settlement. But since you guys weren't around, he decided to call it Busyburg. If you have any other suggestions, that's fine. But for now, he's already written up all of the documentation with Busyburg. But I mean, he could probably change it if you needed. But the ink is already dry. So It would be a lot of work to change at this point. But, you know, if the party wants to change it, that's fine. And then
has
after
done a
he
lot
did
of
it,
work
the
for us.
squirrel literally just fell apart, like into little individual pieces.
Well, something he can work on. Maybe more permanence in the squirrel.
You know.
Well, perhaps these soldiers can join our forces in Busyburg and help to defend the area while we are away.
However they are needed, they are your forces to deal with as you please. Out of character for clarification, she is paying for them for the first 7 years. So, they're free troops. You don't have to pay for them. So you'll have to pay for their supplies and stuff. But as far as their salaries, she's got it covered. They will actually continue to be, their salaries will be shipped to you, and they'll be paid from those coffers so that you don't have to. So your
Even
first
better.
set of soldiers don't cost you anything. Okay.
Thank you.
He nods, continues down the line. You can also tell there's also it's pretty apparent each time, like after they propose what they'll do, then the Duke nods and like smiles to them. It's pretty clear the Duke's going to be footing the bill. So the Duke's building the church, although Baron Sherlane is the one who will be coordinating it. Lady Penhaligon is offering her forces for you, but the salary is going to be paid by the Duke. He continues down the line and stops next at Nace. Nace, from what I have heard, you are from the western reaches of our nation. You've traveled a lot and done many things for someone who is, my understanding, was a simple farmer. Such is the amazing outcome of the adventuring life. I wish you the best in the future. But I ask you now, how can I reward you for everything you've done so far?
Well, in all my travels and all my studies as a great wizard, I want what any wizard wants, and that is
You
great
hear
strength.
you hear an audible scoff from the audience. Everyone kind of looks, and you can see it came from one of the tables, kind of in the side, where there's a man who's dressed in very extravagant clothing. He's got all kinds of gold embroidery on the shoulders and sleeves. There's a prominently displayed sigil of the Wizards Guild of Specularum on his shoulder, and he audibly scoffs whenever you say "Great Wizard." There's a couple rude looks at him, but it seems almost like people expected it.
Oh no, it's completely tongue in cheek. I'm just going to wink at him and move on.
He seems quite aggravated. The Baron looks and smirks and looks back. You can see he's kind of trying to read. He doesn't know if you two know each other or not. You do not know him, by the way.
No.
But the Duke apparently knows him and looks, and he's got kind of a smirk, and he says, "Great strength. As in assisted? Through
Yes.
magical means?"
I believe so, yes. Because
He says-
great strength does not come naturally to one such as myself.
Well, this is definitely unexpected. Are you proficient with the blade?
Better with the staff. Blunt force trauma.
Intriguing. I know
Like
not
what
many
happened when you were
wizards
the
who would
child.
willingly close into melee. He shoots a look at that guy who's his face is deep red now. And he says, "Yes, perhaps a belt of giant strength."
Oh, that would be most astounding, Your Excellence.
He turns and he says, "Duravos." And the guy who's just bright red looks at him. He goes, "You could complete such a construction with your staff, could you not?" "Why, yes, my liege." He says, "Excellent. See me about the costs. I'd like to prepared as quickly as possible. Yes, my liege, of course. As it pleases. He takes and he looks down. You can tell there's just like static in the room. And he says, it will be completed as soon as possible. I will have it shipped directly to you.
Thank you so much for your assistance.
He nods. One thing escapes me, Nace. I did not catch your family name.
Do you have one?
It's Alexander.
Alexander. I don't know of your family. I have a feeling in the future everyone will. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. He steps down, stops in front of you, Stefan. Stefan, I've known of your exploits long before this meeting. Were it not for you, it's my understanding that Threshold, Verge, several minor hamlets along that area would have been overrun by orcs long ago, if not for the sacrifices of your mentor and you in directing our army to where the fights were. I saw that you were honorably discharged, and it seems as though the adventuring life suits you. I was told of many of your exploits from those who have seen you, raining death from above and from afar. Apparently your marksmanship is unmatched. So, tell me, Ranger, what is it now, the one who split away from the divine path of your family, what can I get for you?
Well, thank you, Duke. I'm feeling a little squishy these days. I'm hoping to find more protection. Perhaps a ring of protection, or maybe some kind of cloak of displacement. Something along those lines to
Sure.
get a little thicker skin.
He nods. Both strong enchantments. He holds up his hand. He kind of waves his fingers, and you can see he's got a significant ring on his finger. It's pretty clear he's indicating that's what he's wearing right now. Do you have a preference? I can procure either for you, but I must admit such an item is quite rare and in limited supply.
Well, I won't lie to you, Duke. The cloak sounds like a lot of fun.
Very well. I can tell you it is. He reaches up, undoes the clasp on his cloak, and pulls it off. As he pulls it off, you notice he shifts sideways about 4 inches as he removes it. He holds it out to you. It has served me well.
Thank you, Duke. Very grateful.
No,
It's been
I
my pleasure.
am grateful. He hands you the cloak.
Nice.
Okay. He stops and he paces down to Weedall. The crowd is applauding after that one. So, we are back to the foreigners. One whose lands I'm not familiar with. From what I've been told, you hail from the south, but he says you hail from the east, but originally from the south. I hear rumors that you've flown an airship. You are more worldly than most. My understanding is you are the bane of wizards across this country. I've been told by good authority by my nephew, and he points to Kevorkian's adopted son. And he nods, because he's one of the only ones witness to you just annihilating a wizard. But then there's also quite a few reports about how you came over and basically ended the wizard. How you just took Scarda down to his knees. So, I ask you, Weedall, what can I do to reward you for everything you have done?
Well, I have two requests, and the first one I'm hoping will help you. We have a new, was it Busyburg, that has a lot of land that probably needs to be settled. It needs to be inhabited. If perhaps there are refugees that don't have a home, perhaps you would allow them to settle in Busyburg.
He actually, his breath is taken away. He actually reaches down and put his hand on the table. You can see a flush of color come into his cheeks as he looks down the table to see, like, do you all agree to this?
Yeah.
He says,
Aye, a noble request indeed.
Any who wish to
More-
relocate there, we welcome them.
we'd all of you, more than you know. By the way, the chamber is like, there's people are standing up and cheering. Pretty soon, it's just a deafening roar of everybody clapping and cheering and screaming. He has to wait for it to die down, and he says, half of them have no homes. Half of them are from places that no longer exist. Half of them have nowhere to go.
Okay, off topic right now.
Yeah.
Are we able to handle half of them in an undeveloped area? Do we have enough room to give them land and feed them and have them feed themselves, etc.?
No. You guys couldn't feed that many people if you had to. You'll wipe out all the reserves that you have in your hamlet in a week. They'll all starve to death without help.
Okay. Then I need to make clear, I said we can help, but we can't help everybody. I don't know how to apportion those that we can help versus those that will just be putting in greater jeopardy by not being able to support them.
A man with a thick black beard, shiny, very well groomed, has amazing, wonderful clothing on, stands up and he says, "I'll till your fields." I'm trying to think if anybody would recognize him. Stefan would probably recognize him. Maybe Nace. You guys are native to Kiramikos. This is Baron Kelvin, the Lord of Kelvin, the largest city near you. You see a dwarf stand up, and he says, "We'll build houses." And he is a lord from Highforge. Redamaron says, "We will loan you the seed." And basically everybody stands and basically says, "We'll till your fields. We'll make sure you can feed them." And the Duke turns and he says, "And until your lands can support them, I will send food."
I'm going to stand up on my chair, take my hat off, and bow to the crowd.
Oh God, that gets a massive applause. People love it.
And say thank you. Oh, and as to my second request, it's difficult in adventuring with these people in order to look my absolute finest at all times. Perhaps if there was a piece of studded armor that I could change on a whim so that I could look as fine and regal as you, or look like a beggar. When a
Scott,
rogue
what's the
may
item called,
look
damn it?
Cloak of Billowy.
Glamorous studded leather.
Glamorous studded leather, yeah. It basically has a glamour on it.
Yeah.
You can change its appearance at will.
It's
Glamour. Well, damn it.
it's the
Damn
same
it, what's
studded
it
leather I
called?
had. Just I get to look pretty, or I get to look bad, or I could look
There
like
we
an
go.
plate man.
Glamored studded leather is
It's too OP, sorry.
+1 AC.
Yeah, it's the same armor that I have.
Oh, you already
It's
have that now.
literally the illusion effect is what he wants.
It's awesome.
Retains
You
its
look
own
great.
weight.
I mean, it's not often you get to walk into a fight wearing a tuxedo.
Right?
So you can make it appear whatever you like.
Yep.
Pleasant or to assume the appearance of a normal set of clothing or some other kind of armor. You decide what it looks like, including color, style, and accessories. The armor remains as a normal bulk and weight. Okay. The Baron looks and smiles. He looks you up and down. And he's like, "My understanding was the tailors worked all night to make sure your outfit was ready.
And they
I
did
must
a
say I
fine.
approve."
They
Yes,
did a
he's like,
fine
"Yes,
job.
they did indeed." He turns back to the tables and looks, and he catches the look of a man in a hood in the back. He's got brown hair, kind of short, curly, close to his head. He's got a little goatee. He's definitely finely dressed. He has turn it off. He's got rings on and gold necklaces. When he turns, you notice Weedle as he rises and stands and lifts his hood back. You just notice he has long, supple fingers of the trade. It's something rogues recognize. You also notice that as he's taking his hood off, he gives you 3 indications that you can expect a visit from him before he leaves through the thieves' cant. Nobody else picks up on it.
I don't let on.
And the Duke says, Gregan, can you assist with this? He says, aye, my lord. It'd be my pleasure. I'll have you fitted out before the morrow. I look forward to making your acquaintance. Then he takes and doesn't like cover his head up, just lifts his hood back up to where you can't really see him from the side. People kind of clap. A couple people are like, what was that? Like, kind of a weird vibe as Gregan sits back down.
He's got a weird vibe.
Yeah.
His vibe is weird, but okay.
Like it.
So just the other people look like everyone was like, why was he asking him? So anyway, the after that the Duke turns to everyone, calls another round of applause for the heroes, leans in as they're all cheering and whispers, well, not whispers, talks, but nobody else can hear him at this point. He leans in, he says, really, you must get a better name than the Unknowables. I can have my men help. I have plenty of bards. One of them could name you.
Are you gonna name us the Busy Boys?
Oh, yes. Okay.
The Busy
Sounds like
Boys
a boy band.
does sound like a boy band.
Izzy's bitches.
No, the beaches are down south on the island.
Yeah. Beaches,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Well, what's more important than that, though, is we got to get Weedall some different colored hats, and then
I
he
have
can
it.
just match the whole
I have it.
time. No, more.
Oh, more hats.
Yeah, it's a thing.
You really want that hat?
Feathers.
So, let me pull this up here.
Can you make your armor have a feather on it too?
I'm going to assume I can make it glitter.
I think any type of clothing.
Whatever he.
It's
you
got to be clothing. But
described.
outside of that,
Do they have bedazzlers?
okay.
Dazzlers, yes.
So I have a temple built. Horses.
Stefan, that cloak of displacement was,
150 soldiers. I'll get details on them
you're
later.
going to love it. I was really, really thinking about going that route.
You're going to have
One water out?
1,500 new residents.
The cloak
They
of
need to be
displacement.
harder to hit.
1,500 new residents.
Yeah, your
I don't know
population's
what
gonna go up by
mine does for
1,500.
me, but it sounds really fun, and it kind of helps me with the well-roundedness.
Okay, so glamored studded leather, we got that. The girdle of giant strength. Oh, not girdle, belt. Sorry, it used to be called a girdle back in the day.
I think it's the Hill Giant one, because the others are insane.
Yeah, the others are very rare. That's the rare one.
Yeah.
But it's still a 19 strength. I looked it up.
It's 21 strength actually.
Oh.
You're thinking of probably ogre, the gauntlets of ogre, whatever.
Oh, I looked up a different thing.
Let's see, and then a cloak of displacement.
I added it to my inventory. Should I get rid of that? And
Oh, you've already got one? Okay, you're good.
Well-
No, if you've got it added, that's good.
all right.
So you're gonna have to have an effect made, which we'll cover. If we have to do it tonight, we will. But I'll get an effect made that you click it and it gives you grant disadvantage on attack, just like Gamelon's warding flare. And anytime it needs to be activated, just remind me. You'll click it before I roll my attack. So.
Can you make it just permanent with an expiring effect if he gets hit? Like
I'll have to check. That's a maybe because it doesn't activate if you can't move though.
Well,
Yeah, if you're immobilized, it won't
If
work.
you're
right.
Well, like you even looked up, if you're surprised
Yep.
that you can't
Yep.
move the turn you're surprised. So,
Right.
but if he is restrained, incapacitated, grappled, anything that basically sets your movement to 0, he can't move, so the cloak won't work in those cases. And if you get caught by surprise, apparently the cloak works by accentuating your normal bodily movement of just, even a sway. So if you literally can't move because you're locked in place, frozen, it doesn't work. So, all right, Brian, do you need me to add the belt to your inventory, or do you got it?
I didn't get it yet.
Okay, I will
you
put
want
it in
me
your
to.
inventory.
Does anyone want a ring of mind shielding?
A thick leather belt. Doink. Okay, belt of hill giant strength, and let's see if
Wisdom
it
is
still
already
works.
+7 for
Oh,
me.
it
so-
does. Shit. What was your strength? 8? Yeah,
8.
it was 8.
He just became the strongest one in the party.
I have to put it on though, right? It's just carried,
You have to attune it, I believe, as well.
equipped.
All right, let's see. I don't know what the best way to do this is. We'll go to notes. Notes. Base strength is 8. Current strength is fucking 21.
I don't even know what I'm
Jesus.
gonna do with it. I just
21 strength, whatever the fuck you want. You now do plus
Anyone wanna
5
arm
damage
wrestle?
with the quarterstaff.
wait.
Oh, you're gonna want to change
I didn't even
your.
think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna want to change Shillelagh to no longer
No.
use.
I have a quarterstaff already. I just have Shillelagh as well under weapons.
you have to modify
Right.
both.
But right now your Shillelagh uses your charisma. You could make it use your strength instead.
I could just use the quarterstaff though.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because it's the same effect. You're right. Well, we need to add. It doesn't have magic on it though. I'm just gonna modify your Shillelagh to do strength.
Okay.
Because that would make it a magic weapon too, which is good for those beasts that
Right.
and such.
Especially because, dude, no lie, I've been making a bunch of creatures
Well,
from
here's
Mystara.
when am I
and
ever gonna
Holy
quarterstaff
shit,
and not
Mystara
be
was
doing
mean.
like
I forgot what a
booming
meat
blade
grinder Beckme was.
or green flame blade? That's where my magic's coming from.
Those require blades, don't they, or not?
No, it requires a weapon.
Just a melee
Oh.
attack, yeah.
So yeah, so your quarterstaff still does your base +5.
So plus 5 to hit and damage now, on top of your other modifiers. So, yeah, plus 8 to hit now with a melee weapon.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I
And
was
not
just
even
thinking,
finesse. You just, a guy holds his shield up and you're like, fuck your shield.
like, let's go through it.
Yeah, so you're a fucking Hulk.
Jesus.
It's gonna be cool. All right.
Yeah, me beat by +1.
Okay, and then Scott, I need to add the glamored studded leather to you.
If I was min-maxing, I think the best way for me to do it was a +2 shield. And that was just super boring.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And like the other option was like a belt of dwarven whatever. It's
I
like
was also-
+2 constitution. And I'm like, that would
And
be
there's
good
your
for me too.
glamored
But
studded
again,
leather,
Just
which
get
is
the
now
just get the amulet of health. It just does the same thing.
equipped.
Amulet of health gives you like a con of 19 or something like that.
oh,
Right.
okay, yeah, but that's just boring.
So,
But having a bunch of points in my dump stat, that's fun.
Useful too.
now
At
as
least
far
now I'll
as
be able to
your,
climb.
let's see, what else we have here? We had
I was thinking about the jug of alchemy.
Karnon.
The what?
jug of alchemy.
No.
150 soldiers paid for 7 years.
I was
Well,
thinking about a ring of evasion too. That would mean that I would never
Mace,
fail a deck save ever.
belt of hill giant strength.
Yeah, it doesn't link.
Stefan,
Doesn't link. Lame.
No.
cloak of displacement, and Weedall, 1,500 population increase, and a glamored studded leather armor. Okay. Got
It's
that.
the one with mayo, though.
Mayo, yeah.
All right.
2 gallons of mayo.
Gallons?
So-
Jesus.
In addition to all this, so if there's something else you guys want to talk about with the Duke, now's the time. The feast continues at this point. People are just getting stuffed. Gregan makes his way over to speak with you when he gets the opportunity, Weedall, as the people are mingling and talking more and starting to, gathering cliques around the tables, telling stories. The bards are singing more songs about all of you. And Weedle catches an opportunity to kind of call you over to the corner where he can speak to you in private.
Okay.
So, looks like you're moving up in the world there, Weedle. Name's Gregan. Others know me as the Guildmaster. At least, people in our circles.
Nice to meet you. I like airships.
Interesting, yeah, don't we all? Is that true? What they say about you?
Some of it. What do they say about me?
Well, fair enough. I'm speaking in regards to you having flown an airship.
Oh yeah, I've flown them in the air and into the ground. It's all the same. One's preferable over the other.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. So you're saying if perhaps in the future I needed an airship pilot, you might be available. For a
Oh.
cut, of course.
I'm your cat.
Excellent. So I suppose this means you'll be looking to set up shop in your new city you got going there.
Yes, Busyburg. I'm sure it will have airship berths galore.
And I'm sure you'll be checking in with the guild in Specularum.
Maybe. Should I?
Well, it's not wise to be operating without oversight, of course.
I see. Yes. We have proven that we need oversight.
Well, I'm not talking about what you do with your adventure and friends. That's up to you. I'm speaking more to what happens in Busyburg, was it?
Busyburg.
Yeah, well, I think we all can agree. It's much better when the things on the shadier side of the law happen with rules.
Oh, I totally agree. Rules are very, very important. So are standards.
If you fit in six in the setup, sorry, if you're fixing to set up shop, you make sure I'm in the know. I'll make sure you've got some beginning recruits, maybe even a trainer. No city's going to flourish without a thieves guild mate.
I agree.
Excellent. Well then, you'll be needing this. He reaches into he's got a little bag on the side of his waist. He opens up the drawstrings, he reaches in like up to his elbow, and he pulls out a package that's wrapped up neatly and hands it to you. Had me mates get that ready as soon as possible. That's your armor you'll be wanting. Quite handy, I can attest. He pats his like what looks like very nice regal clothing and silks. But as he takes and taps it, you can see a ripple goes over it, and he's wearing studded armor. So he is wearing the same thing.
Well, thank you. And I look forward to doing business with you in Busyburg and elsewhere.
Absolutely. You always keep it fair. I'll make sure you take the lion's share. So, the only other thing I ask is you find out something maybe not quite your interest, but still profitable, make sure I know about it.
We are one guild.
Excellent. I like to hear that. I mean, between you and me, that's a crock of shit, but I do like to hear that. But
Well,
I'd like you operating within the bounds of my guild. However, someone comes up from Thyatis. You get trouble from Derek and Thyatis. Even those foggy halflings from the 5 Shires. You have any trouble, you let me know. I'll take care of it. That's part of what happens in this deal.
I will indeed.
Excellent. Well, let's have a drink then, shall we? So,
Let's shall.
He has a drink with you. He'll shoot the shit with you. Scott, as far as this goes, if you want, I can give you a rundown of everything you learn about the Thieves Guilds and how they operate around here. I mean,
I'm gonna need that.
Yeah, I'll do that out of game. I'll make sure you have kind of a rundown of the powers that have happened, and the price is roughly 10%. They expect about a 10% cut of anything you do, or a finder's fee on anything they give you. So, you learn from Gregan though, he really doesn't even operate anymore. Like he occasionally might go on an adventure just to keep his skills sharp, but for the most part, he said the biggest problem he has is not gaining weight, because he just sits around and eats and embarrasses new recruits. Like, he said it's a lot easier to run a guild than you would think, mostly because you've got thugs under you that handle the menial day-to-day work. You mostly are just making the big decisions, and if somebody gets out of line, there's just so many people between you and them that deal with the problem that it's very rare. It's pretty rare you're going to actually know one of your foot soldiers. But Gregan explains that, like, he had, for a long time, he had a conflict with the Veiled Society. But I'll get more into that with you later. He later won and took over. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not used to running a kingdom or a fiefdom, so I'm sure there's a lot that we'll all have to learn.
It's a guild, and for him, you're someone who's accomplished enough that you could run a guild with a little bit of oversight from him, and it's just a profit as far as he's concerned. While that's going on, Stefan, you actually get a visit from your mother and sister, who came from Specularum. The rest of them are still in Thyatis, but they came to Specularum whenever the Church of Keramikos was set up, and have not leading positions, but they have their own congregations they tend. They're just thrilled to see you. They can't believe how well you've done for yourself at this point. Your sister, by the way, I'm not doing any female voices or accents. Your sister hints that she would be interested in joining, or at least becoming an acolyte at Gamelon's church. She's not specifically a follower of Ixion, but she is a follower of the sphere of energy and domain of light, which is Ixion's. She is still a follower of his pantheon, and would be quite interested in joining that church. She can't help but offer a few suggestions indirectly to you to tell the Gamelon, like he should call it the Church of Light instead of a Church of Ixion, stuff like that. And your mother mostly just hems and haws over, like, she's a lot of backhanded compliments. So she's like, you've accomplished so much. I mean, just imagine if you had applied yourself with the clergy, so it all works out to you. You still should have been a cleric. But they're thrilled to see you. She promises to write to the rest of your family and let them know. She insists that you should head to Thyatis sometime and visit. They're outside the capital right now. I'll get you where they're living later, because I don't have it in front of me. I think it's called Machete. It looks like Machete, but anyways, it's
Let's go.
Machete.
Yeah. I want to go there.
Oh, got you a machete. So, but outside of that, nobody other than that specifically is looking for you. Some of the soldiers that just saw you, bullseyeing people with a crossbow through a smoky battlefield, are looking for tips and pointers. But there's a good chance you probably knew some of the guards that were stationed here anyway. I mean, you were kind of the everyman's man whenever you were in the army.
Well, I'm very happy to see them, and I will pass along my sister's request to Gamelon. I don't know how he's going to react, but I will pass along the information.
Sure.
No guarantees.
All right.
And it's great to see them, guys.
So that's about it for as far as one-on-one interactions with people. Gamelon, you have just about everybody want to come shake your hand, just to meet you. No one's ever seen a turtle. Even tabaxi or Rakasta are more common than turtles. It's just, you're probably the only one any of them will see in their lifetimes. So everybody wants to meet you. Everyone wants to shake your hand. Everyone tells you they can sense what a good spirit you are. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
And Karnan, you're mostly left to your own. There are
I like it that way.
you do have one woman comes to you. She's kind of live, and when you speak to her for a little bit, you could catch a twinge of an elven accent. Her name is Elida, and it's pretty apparent before she even tells you that she's actually half elven. She wears her hair down to cover her pointier than a human's, but not as pointy as an elf's ears. She's very charming. She just takes interest in talking to you about the Kenilworth Forest. Apparently, she's from the same area. She's from Kenilworth Forest. She's not from the same city as you, but familiar with the lands. And so she spends the evening just reminiscing about those places. She lives south of Raphilion, in the Red Lib Woods now, and would expresses some interest. She's not anything more than basically an ambassador, or maybe even not even that, just a diplomat among the Kalari Elves, and she sees this as an opportunity to be a point of reference in case you want any diplomatic relationships with the Kalari Elves. She is intrigued that you were looking at your request, and tells you that she has her own force of fighters. They're all half elves. Most of them are none of them are from Radlib Woods. They're all either from somewhere in Karamikos or Darrican, or they're from the Kenilworth Forest. And they're all half elves. All of them come from rejected families, looking for a place that they fit in. And just through the years, she's kind of gathered them up into a crew of fighters. So when you said you were looking for someone specific to join the party, it intrigued her interest. From what she's told you of her experiences, you're not sure if she might be ready to hang with you guys yet. But she is interested in, besides just being a diplomat for the Kalari Elves, if you're interested, joining your domain and leading, be a place that she would be allowed to put out a call for half elves, that they have a home here, and in exchange for that right, because half elves, by the way, don't have a lot of rights, because they're not considered elves or humans. Like, humans shun them for being too elf-like, elves shun them for being too human-like, and they're exceedingly rare in Mystara. It's not just like an elf and a human have a baby. It's extremely rare that the mother can carry to term in either direction. So, and then even when they do, usually there's if it's a human mother, the baby is so close to human, it's almost imperceptible. Like, you couldn't tell. So it's rare that they actually are born. Like, if a half elf is born to a human mother, it's very rare for them to actually have elven features, like actually elven racial abilities. So
Semi-pointy ears.
yeah, so typically the baby's so human you couldn't really tell the difference. Someone might say, "Oh, he's kind of got elvish looks," but that would be it. Whereas a half elf, it's very clear you are a hybrid between the two. So, anyways, she says that she has a group of 18 half elves right now that are they want homes. They want a place that most of them have, you know, lived together, have adopted, and so she really has 9 families. But they all are warriors. Specifically, they're all very accomplished archers and men at arms, and they would like to join your force.
I I think that sounds good. I would have to, of course, discuss with the rest of the party to determine whether or not they felt it was good to take on more folks over there. But it is of certainly interest to me to have additional warriors who would probably remain there after the 7 years was up and provide some.
Oh, this wouldn't even be 7.
Yes.
Let me clarify that. No, they want to live there and be soldiers.
Right, that's what I mean. That they would
they
be
want
there
to be
beyond the
basically
7 years of the soldiers.
their goal. Right, yeah, their goal is to be the wardens of the realm. They want to be the bodyguards. If somebody is on the land, somebody's anywhere on the land, they will be the scouts who find them. They'll be the scouts who know about it, and all they want in exchange is a place to live and land of their own, to where they can tend to their own land, raise their own families.
Yeah, everyone needs a homeland.
Yes, I agree. I'm all about that. So
Okay.
Skilled labor is
I
good.
will discuss it with the others, and I think knowing them, it's likely that we would offer up our domain as a homeland.
Arnan's harem.
I think you can just say yes. I don't think the rest of us have.
We just took 1,500. We can take 14 more.
18.
Plus
18
having a
more.
scout force, a built-in scout force, is enormously useful. So
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
in. Yay.
So, anything else for the evening? We're gonna split that up.
No, but I did kind of disappear and put my armor on and come back. But
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks exactly the
Right, it all
same.
looks the same.
Yeah.
So throughout the evening, like I said, people are getting drunk. There's lots of just boasting and stories being told, and
Can I figure out who the not so great wizard is?
yeah. So the not so great wizard's name is Themis. He is he has a shaky relationship with the Duke. He's a former adventurer, somewhat accomplished. He at one time was part of adventuring parties. Redamaron can also fill you in. Probably where you get some of your info. Redamaron did adventure with him long ago in the past when they were getting started. But he kind of shifted more into academic study, training people, like training other wizards. He has a tower within Specularum. He's very high ranking within the Wizards Guild at this point. It's pretty clear his beef with you is that he knows for a fact you are not a wizard.
Oh yeah.
Like he can tell, well, he can sense the invocations that literally cling to your body. So it's
the heal magic doesn't give it away.
Yeah. The what?
The heal magic.
Yeah. Well, he
I
hasn't
just
seen
heal
you cast the
people.
spell, but he can just he can sense just by being around you that you do not unlock power with words and tapping into the magic of the world. You are just brimming with it. Like it's spilling out of you. And so he is both jealous and disturbed, or jealous and annoyed by your presence. Like he's jealous of the power you have so effortlessly. But then at the same time, he's also kind of annoyed that everyone thinks you're a wizard. But it's pretty clear that like it wouldn't matter if he told someone you're not a wizard, because he doesn't know what you are. If anything, he'd probably guess a sorcerer.
Yeah.
But or some kind of, the fact that I'm sure it's been rumored that you can heal people. So like for him, he doesn't know. You're some untapped fount of power, and he doesn't like the power you have, and he doesn't like that he can't control it. So, because you are not required to be a member of the Wizards Guild.
I can't think of Redemron's wife, but does she also know I'm not a
Halia.
wizard?
Haley.
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 Halia is probably so
She's
out of
seen me do
game.
magic.
Out of game, Haley is lower level than you guys. So they're both 5th, 6th-ish level, so you're just past them. And so
Gotcha.
it's unlikely that she might suspect you're not a wizard specifically. You're a magic user to her. And so she probably hasn't picked up on the fact that, because you have a spell book, I'm sure she's seen you with your book of rituals.
Oh yeah.
So she's aware that you've got a book and you cast magic, but
I read books.
right. So she's probably not sure. There's
Because
lots of
warlocks
different
are like very frowned upon, right?
Not exactly. So
Oh, okay.
that's a good question. So one, this is part of the makeup of Mystara that probably I should clarify. There are no gods at all in Mystara, in the world, period. Gods exist in the multiverse that the Mystara world is in. However, for whatever reason, none of those gods have any contact with the Mystara world. So, Kord exists somewhere as a god of war in the Forgotten Realms. He has no access to Mystara. Nobody knows why. Well, maybe the Immortals know why. But all the Immortals, which would be the gods of Mystara, were once mortal. That's the unique thing about the Mystaran world. Everybody and they gain their power from worshippers. So, but like Ixion was at one point a mortal person who ascended to immortality. It is legend that this can happen. But the Church of Trolladara was the church that existed in Trolladara before it became Karamikos. The church is centered around 3 heroes who saved, a long time ago, saved the land of Trolldara from an invasion of beastmen. They had been enslaved for centuries, and these 3 rose and overthrew them and ascended to immortality eventually. That's who's worshipped in the Church of Trolldara. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is warlocks gain their power from some being, but like fiends and devils, or like demons and devils, only get access here through very rare circumstances. So warlocks typically don't gain their power from immortals. That's what clerics get. And because there's like a set of rules as to how clerics get their magic. Getting your magic as a warlock means someone's granting it to you. And Gamelon would have more of the specifics of it, but basically, immortals don't interfere directly with mortals. They have to take care of themselves. So, the idea that an immortal would grant power to a warlock is kind of ridiculous. But there are lots of higher beings. So, demons, devils, fae, old ones, mysterious sources that are essentially gods, aboleths, the old ones. So supposedly the world was originally inhabited by the old ones, and no one really knows what they are, except they were, yeah,
We killed some.
yeah, they had limitless power until they were defeated by something, titans, immortals,
Hey,
an
we've got a
immortal above the
genocide
other
under our
immortals,
belts.
right? So, but anyways, warlocks are. There's warlocks in the Northlands, like in the Heldonic territories. Those are warlocks that are actually gaining their power from the spirits of the land. Ethengar has warlocks like that. So there are warlocks are very rare, not necessarily shunned, only because most people don't understand that they're warlocks. The most common example of a warlock would be witches. That people of Mystara could relate to. Now, if you were in, say, Galantry or Alphatia, they know flat out what what a warlock is. But here, you're just another kind of wizard. To them, you're a magic user, which is the term that they use for anyone who casts arcane spells, a magic user. Whether that's a sorcerer or a wizard or a warlock or an eldritch knight, it's kind of a wash in Karamikos. So no, warlocks wouldn't specifically be shunned. Maybe if someone explained what a warlock is, sure. And in your case specifically, you couldn't even tell anyone who your patron is because you don't really know, and your patron doesn't talk to you that often. So,
was Nace born on a mountain? Is he the Scarlet Warlock?
I was born on a farm.
Scarlet Witch. It's funny. No, he was born in a probably a shed.
You born on a bayou?
Maybe I was born in a manger.
Yeah, lived in an old farm, born in a manger. Star
I
overhead.
heal.
Yeah, he heals. He walks on water.
I do.
Breathes underwater.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have gotten the belt so I get the beard.
Yeah. All right. So, anyway, so the evening finishes. A lot of people learn your name. A lot of nobles learn your names. And you get a pretty much standing. Any of the major cities of Karamikos, except for the Black Eagle Barony, who didn't participate in this. Any of the regions of Karamikos, you basically have welcome admission into any city gates. You're basically on the list of people that can go wherever you want, as well as your name known in Darrocan, the Five Shires, Thyatis, all the neighboring countries, even Yalarum. So, and you do meet a Yalarum representative who happened to be here as a trading partner. He's just an ambassador. He was very interested just to hear your stories. And he does explain to Gamelon that he has actually seen a turtle before. In his travels, he met a turtle in Yalarum on one of the coastal cities. They met in passing, shared a drink. He found it fascinating that it was just a turtle who had just been traveling the world just to see it all. And he said when he met him in the coastal city, he was asking what boat he was going to be on. And he said, "Oh, he doesn't take a boat; he just walks." And he's like, "That's amazing! Like you would travel so far." And he's like, "Well, I'm just not in a hurry to get anywhere. Just want to see the world."
Always beat the rabbit, though.
Yeah.
The wanderlust is real.
Yeah. So, over
was the guy that didn't attend?
Baron von Ludwig. He is a cousin of the Duke. He actually came here when the Duke came to take over this country. He came with him. He can be found at Fort Doom on the western coasts of Karamikos. He kind of runs his area on his own. Doesn't really look for any input. But the areas there are Radlib Keep, Fort Doom, and Luln is a walled village, which is actually where Nace is from. Not Luln specifically, but he lived outside of Luln before he took up the adventuring life. Made a short jaunt through past the Radlib Keep and then made his way east. But anyways, he's very standoffish. He kind of does his own thing. He usually has something snide to say about most people. He's said to rule with an iron fist, but there are rumors that he runs a slaving ring. He denies it. Actually, he doesn't deny it. He's just imprisoned anyone who ever slandered such things about him. Diplomats are on their warning that he will kill the messenger. So you need to watch what you say around him. He's generally not a very nice guy. But at the same time, he's still family of the Duke. And he keeps his realm running well. So he's got that going for him.
Thank you.
So throughout the next day or two, you have an opportunity to stop in Specularum. I don't know if you guys want to unload any of your magic items you're not keeping.
What do we have? We have anything on the party sheet?
I don't know if you do on the
Yeah, I
party
got
sheet.
I have some stuff I'd like to unload.
Inventory. Okay, Scott, what is it you're wanting to unload?
I've got the studded leather armor +1, which I don't need anymore.
Right. Okay.
Putting in the party sheet. There it is.
Okay. All right.
I also have regular studded leather for whatever reason.
Okay. You won't be able to get anything for the regular studded leather. Too much use.
It's fine.
Studded leather armor better than a breastplate?
No.
Problem with the breastplate is it gives you disadvantage on your stealth checks.
Right.
I'm going to put this up here because I don't know how to get rid
The
of it.
thing for you, Steve, because of your high dexterity, if you were to wear medium armor, you could not benefit by more than +2 armor class from your dexterity. Whereas wearing studded leather, you get a full +4 because of you get +4 to your armor class just from your dexterity. So wearing studded, do you have regular studded leather or +1 studded leather, Steve?
I think at this point I just have a breastplate. Looking at my inventory here.
Inventory. Are you wearing a breastplate? Because the breastplate gave you 4 armor +2 would get you to 16 armor class. Don't you have 18? Okay, yeah, and you have... Oh, you still have 16 dex, that's why. You actually get more armor from breastplate than you would studded leather right now. That's why you're wearing it.
Okay.
Because your dexterity is still 16.
Okay. Thank you.
I think because you took sharpshooter, that's why.
Yep.
Once your dexterity gets this 18, then studded leather will get you the same armor class that you have now. So, because currently you'll have 15 armor class with studded leather or 18 with the other one. Now, is your breastplate magical or is it just a regular breastplate? It's just regular.
It's regular. Yep.
So, studded leather +1 would be the same armor class that you have now with your breastplate. Because that would be 3 armor class from the studded leather and then 3 more from your dexterity, putting you to the same armor class you have now. But that's up to Scott. Because Scott, you can either sell it or...
No, if he can use it.
Is it a wash? I mean, is it better? Sounds like it's the same.
No disadvantage to your dexterity stealth checks.
Yeah. All right.
Do that.
You can stealthier.
I'm going to remove that. I'm going to move the studded leather armor to...
Thanks, Weedall.
My pleasure, buddy.
Did you still need that light crossbow? I can take it off my inventory if so.
Stefan.
Yeah, I think I already have it. So take it off your inventory, and I'll use that, and I'll get rid of my short bow.
Okay.
And I'll give my arrows to Karnan.
So Stefan, you should have the studded leather +1 now. There it is. And I'll modify your AC.
And I'm gonna pick up another.
It's just applied differently. So you get 2 from the armor, 1 from miscellaneous, no stealth disadvantage. Still 16 armor class. Okay. Anybody else? Stuff they want to unload?
I have a wand of web that, because I can only attune 3 things, or maybe some boots.
Does the wand require attunement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many items do you have attuned now?
Well, if I had
because
I don't know if I'm using the right words.
Cloak of Displacement and the Crossbow of Warning.
Right.
I can probably carry the wand of web. I don't have it tuned as the bracers.
Let's not get magic items. And
do what?
So
yeah, we won't get rid of magic items.
Okay, so the wand of web requires attunement, and then that's going to go to
Karnan.
Okay. Let's put an A. Karnan. Assign. Okay, that should be assigned to you in a second. Once it sends it over. It takes a second. There it goes. Okay.
And the rest of that stuff you can trash, Jason.
Okay. Anything else?
Why am I carrying torches? I'm getting rid of torches.
Okay.
I have light as a cantrip. I don't need torches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
probably
you want some
safe
warmth. Are you cold-blooded?
Check
I
it.
have fireball.
Anything else?
Nah.
Okay.
Oh my god, my athletics is +8.
I have a book on herbology, I guess.
Okay. All right. So, arrows, bolts, anything like that, totally restocked. So over the next week or so, you make your way back to Windrush. I'm sorry, Busyburg. By the time you arrive in Busyburg, the initial pylons for the church are already being, like, holes have already been dug, and they're driving pylons into the ground to set a foundation and getting the first level of the floor built. The refugees have started showing up the day before, and there's just one caravan after another bringing them. Each caravan is a ton of them driving wagon trains that are filled with non-perishable foods, spare water, and farming supplies and building materials and lumber. So they, as each family arrives, and what the Duke has taken to doing is he's sending each caravan as like a collection of families, and as they arrive, he has sent a couple of his architects and city planners to help divvy out the parcels of land, and in a way that basically you can have in the future, you'll be able to put in roads to move through your domain a little easier, and trying to have a central area mapped out for like a general game plan for the city. He'll be happy to work with you guys for what structures you would like to be your, what do you want in your city? I want a church, I want a blacksmith, I want blah, blah, blah. To try and set up a, central market square and radiate from that, you're going to need a town hall. Anyways, they begin construction of a town hall, which Busy oversees that. And then you just have each of them are coming in and starting to set up farms. A barracks immediately starts to go up. And over the course of the next couple months, you're just receiving, like I said, caravans come in for the better part of 3 weeks of more and more people, just endless food. They put up storage silos to protect the food. They dig deep cellars that are cool for keeping meats longer, etc., and salting. They help set up wells, and so over the course of about 2-3 months, basically moving into spring of 1005 AC, your population jumps up 1,500. And I'll put down that I need to calculate 3 months of income and taxes.
And some of these people are farmers that don't know how, right?
Most of them know how because they spent years tending the farms or working in the quarries. Like, as their slave jobs was to grow food and build stuff. So, or at least mine rock and quarry rock, and so actually they're fairly skilled as far as if you were going to bring on new people. They'll make it in the wild. Like, these are people that are very resourceful.
Well, I'll help them anyway because that's what I know.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're obviously thankful for any assistance. But so over the course of the next 3 months, that's what happens: is your realm continues to expand, and your dominion continues to grow. By the time it's finished, you've actually expanded 1 hex to the west. Oops, there you go. Yeah. I guess 1 hex to the northwest. So you're doubled in size. Super efficient. Throughout that time, I don't know if there's downtime activities or anything that people are interested in, things you want to do. I'm sure Gamelon wants to continue working on his brewing skills.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Also, anyone who needs to be dedicated to the church, I can perform ceremony.
Yeah, so within a month, the church is basically up. It's another month before it's finished. But I'm talking, they put in stained glass. Like, Sherlane really comes out and just goes all out. He builds, a church is the wrong word. He builds a temple. So, I don't know what you thought about her, Stefan's sister, who Stefan's going to name for us.
Yeah.
But
Well, I've got that native guy whose name was in my other notebook that I lost.
Sally.
Oh,
Sally, okay, so Sally is his,
Roakaha.
yeah. Roakaha, I believe was his name, yeah.
So Roakaha and Sally.
Yeah. Are your acolytes right now?
Yeah, so I will perform and I pasted it into the chat. I'll perform the dedication rite
Oh, nice.
to dedicate them as acolytes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, for religious ceremony, infused with magic. When you cast a spell, choose one of the rites. Atonement, you touch one creature, bless water. Coming of age, you touch one human who is a young adult for the next 24 hours, and they make an ability check and every D4. Dedication.
It's mostly
Wishes to be
not-
dedicated to your god's service for the next 24 hours, and they say blah, 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 funeral rite, wedding. This is perfect.
She's pretty cool. She just needs a little help.
So, you're founding a church of light, basically, but it is a temple, so it's not just devoted to Ixion only. There are shrines all throughout the temple. Sherlane, based on your background, he makes sure that in the planning, Ixion is kind of front and center. He's the main god with shrines to the sides of his allies.
Yeah.
But it's a Church of Ixion. But
the Temple of Light, that Windrush.
Yeah. Well, as Busybird currently. It's up to you if you guys want to scratch that name out. But yeah, so the temple's built, and in addition, so they're your two acolytes, who would actually be considered first level clerics. And by the way, Roakaha has started going by the name Roanoke because it's easier for people to say, and they don't make him repeat it over and over. And Roanoke is a first level cleric. Stefan's sister is Sally is also a first level cleric. You also draw quite a few clergy people in, coming, some of them from the population, some of them from Specularum, Kelvin, the cities around. And you've actually attracted a total of 10 followers who, these would be the people who mostly keep the temple clean, prepare the incense, and change out the supplies and stuff. They do the grunt work. But they're also, some of them are there to, wow, nice religion check.
So we'll found the church.
Yeah.
And give those acolytes instruction in downtime is the primary duty.
Okay, perfect. Well, you become, you actually start to quickly gain a reputation as an accomplished cleric who rivals that of Baron Sherlane, is the word on the word on the pew.
The word on the pew.
Sherlane, at one point, Sherlane comes to visit frequently, especially as you're getting started. By the way, Baron Sherlane would be a 14th level cleric. I mean, sorry, a 12th level cleric. Out of game terms, he's the most powerful cleric you've ever met. He's very humble. He's happy to see you thriving. He kind of treats you like an adoptive father, who, he saw that spark in you, I guess almost a year ago at this point. He's like, he saw that spark in you, and he knew you were meant for greatness.
We met,
Hey, Manticore, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the church is doing quite well. So over the next 3 months, of course, news comes in, and for spring of 1005. So here's the news that you've heard so far. I want to remind everyone, the last news you heard is with the Alphatian Armada burned in a firestorm. Whenever the Galantrian adventurers were rescued and escaping, they torched a large amount of the Alphatian fleet, their air fleet. So, in spring,
that's why airships are at a premium.
So, word gets back, or the news through the world now. This has taken a while to get this far, but you mostly hear because of the stuff that happens locally. Apparently, in spring, the start of spring, as the snows were melting, Empress Ariadne of Alphatia sorted through the ruins of the city of Osla and determined what happened. She issued a proclamation of war against Galantry. Immediately after, the principalities of Galantry declared war in return. Just because of the size of Galantry, it almost is a joke. But what was important, and when you heard about it, the following day, immediately, messengers rode out with the news that both the Empire of Theodos, as well as the Order of the Heldonic Knights to the north, both declared war on Alphatia as well. Meaning, all of the coasts facing Alphatia have declared war, except for Yalarum. So, Theodos all the way up, and then the northern territories where the Heldonic Knights are have all declared war on Alphatia. Meaning Alphatia has really no purchase onto this continent except through Yalarum, which has put Yalarum on quite the alert. However, Yalarum, if anything, is not conducive to invasion. It's very hard to travel across a desert with hardly any water.
Hey, my mom wants me to visit Theodos.
Yes, she does. It's the seat of the empire. And every nation in the known world where you live is really considered at least a constituent of Theodos. Theodos is by far the most powerful military. If you're looking for a real-world reference, Theodos is basically Rome. Rome with a little more Renaissance, with a little Renaissance thrown into it, but very strict and ordered military. Very large separation between the rich and the poor, and the rich are up along the lines of like eyes wide shut orgy, hedonistic. So, hey, Symbol Rufus, I'm sure some of these guys play among us, but not me. So,
yeah, I'm sus.
Other news that comes in from Darrican and West is someone far to the west, beyond the known world, because west of Darrican and Atrohagan is really a wasteland of just a rocky desert.
Hey.
And it extends for a long time. And actually, I'll say this, Gimli, you've never been. It's called the desert of the land is called Sind, S-I-N-D. You've never been there. You always sail around it. So, for where you're from, you would head west, follow the coast, past this barren wasteland, until you get to the Serpent Peninsula, which you go around that, and it has a little strait that passes through a narrow strip where two pieces of land come together. And then when you come out the other side, you're in the Savage Coast, which is where you're originally from.
Right.
Now, you haven't been there in decades, but when you were, because you're what, 80?
Ooh, how old am I?
I believe you're really old. I want to say you were like
pretty
80
old.
years old. So, it's been a long time since you were in the Savage Coast. You don't have a lot of news of it. But, as is the nature of turtles usually don't regret where they came from. It's not like you have a longing to go place. It's the wanderlust, like you said. You typically want to see what's over the next horizon. So, but anyways, that's where you're originally from, is that Savage Coast, which is really a group of like 10 baronies just along the coast that extend up into very verdant, healthy land. So
We've got a really cool curse.
yeah. So Sind is a wasteland that you've never visited. You know where it's at geographically, though.
Who wants to
So,
go there? It's a wasteland.
well, there are reports though that there are desert nomadic tribes across Sind. That's really the only civilization there. There are a few scattered towns and cities, well, villages and towns along the few rivers that run through Sind, but most of them are near the edges. The only people that live in the center are basically desert nomad tribes that move across the lands, following weather patterns, and when they know where the oases are. So apparently, rumor has it that someone calling themselves the Master of the Desert Nomads, the ruler of Huel. Huel is a country you've never actually heard of. Has seized control of Sind as a whole, and has united all of the nomadic tribes into an army. The news comes from both Darrican and Galantry, who are quite concerned that there is basically a very large army out in the deserts of Sind where nobody can really go after them. At least nobody's really equipped to go after them.
Fremen.
That definitely has them on edge. So
Do they walk without rhythm?
I'm sorry?
Do they walk without rhythm?
Oh God, Dune. Okay, I was trying to figure what that reference was. No idea. But apparently there are a lot of them, and Darrican is definitely alarmed, and is you actually get you even get word from Jadarin, who, by the way, stops by throughout this 3 months.
Good.
Comes by. He comes down or comes up the Duke's Road as he has gotten his ships into Specularum, and he has come here to pick up his first load of trade goods from his favorite trading post. He's definitely full of shit. You can tell he's really laying it on thick, trying to get you to give him a better price on the goods he's going to buy from you.
He doesn't get a better price, but
Okay.
we're happy to see him.
So you guys throw him like a really nice dinner.
Very happy.
In a drunken rage, he calls you names because you won't give him a cheaper price than you would anybody else.
Why would we, we
well-
would totally give him a better price than other people.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you won't give him as big a discount as he wants. Let me try to put it that way. So, to him, you're treating him like a commoner. But the next day, he sobers up. He apologizes. He feels really bad about it, and but he buys
No
out.
hard feelings. He had the best fish.
Yeah, he buys out all of your supply, as well as supplying you with massive amounts of dried fish to help feed your burgeoning population, who are like, their seeds in the ground. They're starting to see sprout, but like they're probably still a month out from first harvest. But it looks like the population's going to do fine. Anyways, he unloads all of your trade goods that you have. I'm putting in the stuff that I'll need to calculate, and I'll update you guys between games.
How is his ancestor doing?
What do you mean? How's his
He has a key.
ancestor doing?
He has the
Remember
keep, right?
the zombie kid who was?
Yeah, he's got the key.
Oops.
So the boy was with him for a while, but then he wanted to roam about. So he is currently traveling with Jadarin's son, and it's been an opportunity for him to see a lot of the world, because he found out quickly that Crackle thinks that Jadarin sits still for too long. He's just bored because he's been like, I spent years just sitting there reading books. He wants to see the world, so he's been doing that with Jadarin's son. Because Jadarin's son travels everywhere, and he's the one who does most of the dealing. He doesn't stay with the caravans though, whereas Jadarin is moving with one of his largest caravans most of the time. So they sit in one place a lot, waiting for, the wagons to fill up and to get their supplies, because they got to unload and then sell everything and then get their next thing. So, because he'll stay in one place to haggle for a while if he's not getting the price he wants. But he's very happy to see you all. He, says he knew that you guys had this coming. He throws a few shots at Weedle, points out that he doesn't see a mooring for any airships here. He didn't know if those were going to be built next month or something.
Everything's in part of the master plan.
Low.
And I walk up to him, I put my arm around him, and suddenly I'm wearing exactly what he's wearing.
He delights at
Yeah.
that. He thinks that is amazing. So Jadarn's very happy to see you all, and asks if he wants to have one more feast before his caravan sets off in the morning.
Sure, we have plenty of
For our
fish.
favorite trading partner, all the feasts.
Yeah. So you have a large feast, and as you are eating with Jadarin, just enjoying the evening, having a good time, you get a messenger shows up.
Oh no. And everybody dies. Good night.
Yeah, that's it. Here comes the
All right,
TPK.
everyone make a saving throw. Oh, you failed it. You died.
Yeah.
God, here we go.
Well,
Okay.
welcome to 1E.
Tell me if I need to roll inspiration on a death saving throw.
Okay. Also, I forgot about this. Oh, Neil's not here. Well, we can tell him in a second. There he's back. So the clerics are at the church. One of the followers, in fact, several of the followers who arrive, are requesting permission to add another shrine to the immortal known as Benikander. He's not actually allied with any pantheon whatsoever. They are following Benikander, and he has a no immortal interference philosophy, and his preferred alignments are neutral. But they're peaceful. They seek to use their powers for self-defense. Anyways, they would like to... you've never heard of Benikander among any of the immortal names. But they would like to know if they could set up a shrine here
Well, if
in your temple.
After reviewing his teachings somewhat, if he is a neutral deity, I have no problem with that.
Sure. So you
Actually,
meditate
I will
on
do
it.
this. I will do this. Here's a better
Okay.
idea. Give me a second.
How do
He's
you
7
spell
foot tall.
Benikander?
Benekander.
Is that real?
Excellent time. I will need to meditate on this for an evening
Okay.
and provide an appropriate ritual sacrifice. Oh, what do you mean? I can't share that?
Ixion sacrifices?
Well, an offering. Sorry. I want to cast a divination in the evening
Okay.
to ask if this Benikander bears ill will, or if setting up if allowing the shrine in the temple would be a bad idea.
Sure. Let me see here.
I'm going to divination on it. I
So-
tried to share it, but it won't.
Is it Benakander?
Bene.
Benikander?
Divination,
Yep.
4th level spell.
Where are you seeing
Yeah,
this?
I see it. So what is
Alright.
your... Can you tell me what your exact question is? Don't worry, I'm not going to try and screw you over on the wording. I
No.
just want to know exactly what I'm answering.
The question is,
There we go.
Is Ixion cool with this?
basically, is it a bad idea to allow the clerics of Benikander to set up a shrine in the temple?
Okay, your short answer. So as you are in meditation and waiting and thinking on it and praying, you feel your mind being touched and you feel a call. And much
And by
as...
the way, the
Mhm.
alkalites will be present for this divination so that they can understand what's going on as well.
Oh, sure. They're actually there to tend to you as well, because like it takes you a while to do this. So you finish your meditation and you can feel a connection. You can feel a connection to the sphere of energy. You're not sure if it's specifically to Ixion, but the sphere of energy, you feel a connection. You wake and you feel the urge to rise and follow just a weird set of it's not even tracks. It's more like you would be walking along and think you saw a game trail. And as you look, you're just like, it just seems like a clearer spot on the ground. You walk out of the temple and you start to walk and you see both the acolytes are silently following you. They don't say a word. And you walk around to the side of the temple and along the street. You start to move away from the town itself. You walk for probably 100, 150 yards until you find just a single boulder half buried in the ground. It's kind of remarkable because you're not really in a mountainous territory, although there's hills around here. But just a rock. Must be huge. But you feel almost an invitation. You come and you sit. And as you look across, you see a small tree. And hanging from the tree is, like in the corner, is like a beehive up against the trunk. And as you're watching, you see a bunch of birds flying around. They nest on the limbs, they fly away. Another one comes in, they fly away. They seem to coexist with the bees. Almost like they don't even look at each other, or sometimes the bees get near the birds and the bird moves. And then as you're watching through the taller grass, you see the grass starting to move and sway back and forth and part. And as it comes open, you see a bear. And a bear is walking along, and as the bear stops, it looks over at you. And the bear, like, its eye glimmers for a moment. And you feel almost a recognition. And then the bear turns and it walks over. And as it starts to climb up the side of the tree, you can see some of the leaves shake, and you notice some nests wiggle. Various spots, nests shake in the branches. And then the bear takes and it plunges its paw into the side of the beehive, and the bees are enraged, and the birds are flying around, and it causes a commotion. And the bear eats the wax and gets the honey, and it feasts for a while, and then it climbs back down and it leaves. And after a while, the bees calm down. They go back to rebuilding their hive. The bird nests sit still. The birds return to their nests, and the bear walks away. You spend the evening meditating on the vision you saw, the omen. And you can feel a certainty that the bear was Benikander, the birds in the nests were Ixion, and the bees represented Benikander's goals. So that you can take from it, Benikander's goals don't directly affect Ixion's. They may cause a disturbance, but they are only indirectly. In no way are Benikander's goals opposed. They just will cause ripples. But it's not a yes or no. It's you get a sense that, like, you will do as you want, and Benikander will be a force that will alter this world, but is not opposed to my goals.
Geez, that was barely an answer.
Welcome to religion.
Yeah, and then both of your acolytes have differing views. They split off into two different churches. One writing the Old Testament of your teachings, and the one writing the New after this meeting.
After this meeting. Well, he's not at odds, and shaking things up has never been a bad thing. Those who sit still grow moss, after all. So yes, we will allow the church of
Yes.
Benikander to form a shrine.
Okay.
I think it's good. I think it's good to let it be.
Oh, Jesus. You could tell how excited he was for that one.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty sweet.
I can't.
Nice. See, that was better. That was subtle. Wasn't so beat you over the head with it.
It's going to generate a lot of buzz one way or the other.
I know these all sting.
So, there is some excitement. The idea of a new immortal that no one's heard of before. But there's a lot of excitement about the church altogether, and you have very large congregations. Like, you have to break up to just having service every day that you're there, or your acolytes are running the service, because there's too many people for everyone to come to temple at once that want to. So many people also don't just view the temple as a source of community and spiritual guidance. They look at you as like a savior, because to them you're a very real savior, all of you who freed them from a life of misery. So yeah, it's a big deal. There are also, in that first month, a ridiculous number of weddings. So many of the slaves officially want to be married after living their lives together in Skarta's realm. So it is towards the end of this period. Spring is nearly finished. Summer's not far away when you receive a messenger who comes with an anonymous note. The note just asks to meet with your team for employment opportunities. They apologize for the request, but they need to meet you in Specularum due to your the distance your settlement is inland. They are on their way and would like to meet you in 5 days at Specularum. They give the address of a very fancy inn, really restaurant, and hope that you will meet them.
Specularum.
That's not that far away, is it, for us?
Time to shake things
we
up.
can get
No,
there
you could
easy.
make Specularum. You could make on the road four hexes a day. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's like 3 days.
It takes you about 3 days to get to Specularum.
Yep. And we should have horses and carriages and.
Yes, you guys have riding horses. You can have a carriage. You guys actually have, now that the trading post is up and running, like you can literally have a carriage take you somewhere. You guys are minor nobility.
Where's the maps again?
Oh, I can. Boop boop. There, I shared that one.
I'd rather ride a horse than take a carriage.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Feel the wind in my mane.
I'm not a dainty princess. Yet.
And I've got minor prestidigitation anyway, so.
Feels much less
Prestidigitation.
adventurous in the back of
Yeah.
the carriage.
Termikos Specularum.
It also hampers my situational awareness.
I should have asked for a billowing cloak.
The cloak of billowing, yeah.
It's just been billowing the whole way.
The whole way.
Oh, we'd all be very jealous of that.
You could probably find one.
Yeah,
I
I
just
just haven't given instruction and founded the church.
just-
These guys
make
These
mine
guys
look
will
like
take care of
yours.
things while we're away, so. I've
Yeah,
got no problem.
Sure, let's go. We need a break anyway. And Jason, can we just say, and then we can talk about it this week sometime or whatever. During the downtime, I was setting up the Thieves Guild.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll cover all that with you.
Yeah.
So, it's an uneventful journey to Specularum, especially because you can actually have like a guard escort you. You guys are set. And the Duke's Road is very well patrolled, especially right now. Over the last couple months, there's been a caravan going up and down every week. You arrive in Specularum, and they head to the upscale tavern known as the Knight's Rivets. It says reputation for excellent food, and the note also specified dinner was at their expense. So when you arrive at the inn, it's busy. You are recognized almost immediately, and a servant tells you to follow her and takes you up to the third floor to a private dining room where you are taken in. They apologize and say that your patron has not arrived yet, but they should be there shortly. At the precise appointed hour that the note specified, food, which smells amazing, a huge 7-course meal is brought in and starts to be laid out on the table with fine serving staff. They serve plates for everyone, as well as any retainers present. There's also an additional place set for the absent host. Shortly after the tavern keeper and their staff left, the door into the private dining room opens, and a man walks in. He looks like he's about 30 years old, average height. He has a lean but muscular build, and he has black hair that's worn rather long. He has a short black beard and mustache. He's wearing a matched velvet black hat and a doublet sewn with red roses that are also made of velvet, as well as black hose and boots and a red belt with a full-length cloak. He wears only a knife on his side, doesn't appear to have any other weapons or pouches. If you had to just guess right now, he looks like a well-to-do merchant with colorful clothing. I would like everyone to make an intelligence check, though.
I'm
In the
super
tower,
good at
please.
this.
My favorite chip.
Nace made it. Weedle made it. Gamelon made it. Karnan
Wow.
did not.
I'm shocked that I did.
Did
I'm working
Stefan?
on it. I keep moving the deal here. Hold on. There we go. Got it. In there.
Stefan does not get it. Okay. The three of you notice a similarity. It's the eyes, maybe the face, his cheek. This is Redrian. The last time you saw him, he was a massive, green-skinned, glowing, chiseled Adonis. Now he looks like an ordinary man. But it's him. You recognize his face.
Hey.
What's up, Reg?
He turns and he says, "My friends, it's good to see you again. Please, I hope the food has been up to its reputation." He pulls a chair out, looks at you all, kind of nods to himself like this was a good idea, and sits down. I've asked you to come here to
trading out too?
Sorry, what?
Are you trading out too?
Trading out.
Who is
Trading
this guy?
now.
Remind me.
Oh, trading now.
He was the guy in the mirror,
Mirror
right?
shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the mirror.
Yeah, the guy from the mirror.
He swapped places with me. And then we stuck someone else
Yeah.
in there.
And then after he came out of the mirror, he turned into a giant green glowing guy and flew off with the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
From the
Is
mirror or from the shield, right? The shield.
It's not. It wasn't a shield.
It was a
mirror.
It was called the mirror
Shield-sized
shield.
mirror,
Yeah,
Okay.
it actually looks like it was at one point had straps on it to be a shield.
Gotcha.
He laughs.
Okay, gotcha. I'm with you.
Trading.
I'm with you.
Well, you could say I've made my fortunes, but not just through trading. I should probably explain. So, one moment. First, I'll need to cast a spell or two. He turns around and starts casting a spell towards the door.
Do I know what it is?
You can make an Arcana check.
Yeah. This is my jam. I'm super arcanid.
He casts Arcane Lock on the door.
Are we the only ones in this room?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He starts to cast another spell immediately after that.
Yeah.
He casts Detect Magic.
We light up like a Christmas tree.
Without even pause, like as he casts Detect Magic, he starts to cast another spell immediately after that. Honestly, you'd recognize these probably at least by the time they're effective.
I can detect magic at will.
I know. You detect evil. He casts Detect Evil, and then he casts one more spell after that. And at the time he finishes that one, there's no visible effect. But he cast Detect Invisible, or See Invisible.
Oh.
Here, if he's gonna do all that,
Huh?
uh,
Are we all close together? Such that my aura of warding will help with any of these spells he might decide to nefariously cast?
Your aura of warding, yeah, it protects you, period, and they're all within 10 feet of you right now. So the entire party is protected by your aura.
I think he's just being careful.
He says, I apologize, but I need to ensure that we're not being spied upon by magical means. Those of you knowledgeable in the ways of magic, I'm sure you can observe that the spells I cast were of no threat to you.
yeah, never mind. I don't. It's sorry. I was thinking about my wizard. I don't have the one I was thinking of.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, being the mighty wizard that I am, yeah, we're good.
Well, this should assure us a certain amount of privacy, so now we can get to business. But first, I suppose I owe you a word or two of explanation. I'm sure you remember the last time we met, I was trapped within that remarkable mirror-like shield, and you were kind enough to free me from that prison. He's looking directly at you, Nace. A good deed for which I am quite grateful. My stay inside the shield changed me, friends, and I emerged with all my abilities and mental faculties intact. And thanks to the energy absorbed while I was trapped, I acquired the other abilities as well. I could work magical spells, for example. In the time since we last saw one another, I've been learning about this world of yours. Mystara is what you call it. I'm convinced it's the same one my ship crashed upon those many centuries ago. But dozens of centuries of age and catastrophe have changed it. It is very, very different from the way I remember it. Still, it's a nice place. And I don't suppose I'll ever find my way back home after all these centuries. I've adopted it as my new home. Also, since we last met, I've used my new abilities to become quite wealthy, fairly powerful, and very well informed in certain areas. Which is why I've asked you here. I need your help. I told you the last time we met that I thought dangerous forces were doing harm to the magical energy of this world, and now I'm certain of it. I've also seen very strange changes in the activities of whole nations. Clans and countries seem to be jumping and jerking in strange, unpredictable directions, like chickens freshly beheaded. I'm sure you've all seen these changes as well.
The wars have been building.
Yes. I sense that these political events are a result of powerful manipulation. People who are making entire nations dance on puppet strings. People who don't care how many thousands of people suffer and die. I think these events are related, and I'll tell you why. Through my researches, I've come to the conclusion that only beings of a certain level of power, you call them immortals, can utilize the remaining devices of my old ship. In doing so, they're draining the magical energy from your world. It's what you would call magic. If it continues, your world could be utterly drained of magic. Think of it, a whole world with no spells, no magical healing, or magical armor, or protection. No magical creatures either. Now, I don't know why the immortals are doing this. Not all immortals are good. Perhaps you've already had the opportunity to observe the damage an evil immortal can cause with only casual attention. But others, not necessarily evil, are indifferent with carelessness, and though their negligence can destroy us as easily as the evil ones. There's too much happening in this part of the world too quickly for it to be natural. In the span of a year, nations have broken down all relations, massive acts of espionage, and now outright war. It's too quick. Only an immortal could wreak so much havoc in so short a time, but I don't know which immortals are doing this or why. All I know is that I want to see them stopped. I don't know if it's possible. I've decided I'm going to use all of my abilities and my fortune to find out what's going on, to see if there's a way. Maybe if we could find out why they're doing this, we could find a way to convince them to stop. But I can't do it myself. I can't be everywhere at once. I need allies, men and women like yourselves. So I'm here to persuade you to join me. I need adventurers who can travel the world, observe events in places where I think the immortals are most active, and accumulate evidence to prove or disprove my theory. If you accept, I must ask that you not speak of this mission to your rulers, or even to the immortals you serve, until we know who is doing what to whom. I do not ask you to swear to a permanent oath of secrecy, but please, for now, if you were to accept, until we are certain who the enemy is and who is the friend, we must keep this association to ourselves.
Can you not seek out these equipment from your ship? Have you no way to trace them or track them?
I have means that I have not finished. I am trying, but unfortunately the remains of my ship have been long... Well, let me explain it a different way. He takes out a fruit, like a passion fruit, out of a bowl, and he says, "This is your world. I know this is probably a lot to process. By the way, I don't know if you guys understand the world is round or flat, whatever." He points to this thing and says, "This is your world." He takes and he pokes a little spot on the fruit, and he says, "We are right here, right now, at this moment." He tips the fruit up on its end so that the dimple he put into it is straight up. When I arrived here, this is where you were. That probably doesn't make sense. Not in a scheme. Okay. He tilts it back forward. He says, "Here it is cold, as far to the north as you can go. Here it is warm, where we are now. When I came here, this land was covered in ice. There was a terrific explosion, the likes of which you could never possibly imagine, that turned your world. My ship was responsible for that. And so the location of all of these things is no longer where I remembered them being. In addition, they've been moved over the centuries. For instance, the mirror shield that you found has traveled half a world before it found that resting place. So while I am trying to determine ways to find my ship, we'll call it magic that it radiated, is very difficult to detect, as most of the parts were buried when I still walked this world the first time. And so I've had some progress, but it's a very long search, one that I don't feel we have time for. I believe this world will be drained of magic before I will be able to effectively find those things. Or maybe we will. I just need more eyes and more ears.
If we can't tell anybody what we're doing and we don't know whom we're looking for, how do we investigate this draining?
Well, that's one thing I do have. I have money. I have a lot of it. And with my fortunes, I have sought and established many contacts all over the world. What I would like to do is have a means of dispatching you to investigate. Some things are just hunches from the news we hear. Some of these are from contacts who give me direct evidence. But you're not the only agents I am seeking.
I have a question. There was someone who took my place in the shield after me. Who was it, and where is he now?
Carmichael. He smiles. Yes. Well, since that time, Carmichael has passed on from this world. However, I assure you, his last days were in luxury, and he was a very happy man when he died.
How'd he die?
Old age. By the way, he was an old guy. The guy who took your place was quite old. You don't know exactly how old he was because he was filthy.
He was like out of a prison or something, though, right?
Yes, he was in the bottoms of a dungeon. Redrian wasn't specific about where he came from. I guess he probably would be now. I rescued him from a place he was unjustly being held. And while I couldn't do anything to keep him from dying, I made sure he was very comfortable for what he did for me. I know there's a lot. Do you have other questions for me?
So you're basically want us to follow up on your leads, and you're going to give us the ability to get wherever we need to on your passion fruit to follow up on your leads.
Well, I'm not certain I can
You're the
provide
mission
you any
giver.
more transport than you're capable of, but I would definitely pay you. I can offer you an expense, 1,000 gold apiece, whenever I need you for a mission.
Well, stopping the magic draining from the world is mission enough for some of us. But yes.
If what you say is true, and we start believing as you do, then the money is immaterial, because without the world, there's nothing to spend it on.
Well, the world would be here. There just wouldn't be magic.
He nods, doesn't say anything.
So basically, we may die, but we'll live in luxury in the meantime.
Well, I come to you because I've been watching you, and I think you've proven that you might be the hammer that we need. I have many agents out whispering back to me what they find, but I don't have anyone capable of enacting change.
And what is this mission? Do you have one now, or are we simply talking?
I suppose now we're talking, although I have a lead. I have 2 leads I need to investigate. I have agents heading west. I find the sudden arising of this man called the Master to the west alarming. And I'm also traveling east to see if I can find the tampering of immortals in the east, in Alphasia. Or maybe I can at least talk some reason into them as a fellow caster, as a fellow magic user.
This ruler of Huel is who you speak?
Yes, you know of him. It wasn't on my radar. He doesn't say radar, sorry. That wasn't... See, I did not foresee that coming. Most of the things that have been happening, I've seen the steady progression. This one's new. So, I'm trying to find out if this is independent or if this is tampered with.
Indeed. seems to
But
be a troublesome item. I've
I
never
have-
known the nomads to be
I
dead.
have, yes, I suppose that's the most alarming thing. I mean, I suppose from my study of history, some of the tribes have united briefly, but only in defense, not to attack. And from what I understand from my sources, an army is amassing and marching towards Darrakan.
Oh.
Those on the western front would be the first casualties.
I think
But-
we should check this out.
I am confident that Alphatia is being tampered with. Everything's escalating too quickly, and the war is coming so fast. I must travel east and see if I can do something about it. I'm not asking you to go to Sind. I'm not asking you to go to deal with the Master. As I said, I have agents going that direction. But now that war is broken out between the empires of Alphatia and Theodos, more and more nations are going to be involved. It's inevitable that innocent people are going to die by the thousands. I don't know that your dominion's at any risk, or your hometowns, but the more out of control things become, the greater the likelihood that no place is going to be safe.
This map cuts off it.
Guido's ready. Let's go.
Which way is more likely to show us some evidence of what you're telling us?
I wish I could tell you what I'm looking for. I hate to use a cliche metaphor, but I'm currently spinning my web, waiting for the vibrations on the strands. This escalation to war is the most striking sign, but... well, I can give you an example. Have you heard of Nava fruit? Or, I'm sorry, Zonga fruit?
Nope.
No.
I will tell you. You guys have.
Oh.
Yes.
There's been some Zonga fruit addicts in Theodos, you've heard.
Yes.
Oh.
A lot of the nobles have been having like wild Zonga fruit parties,
I
which
don't
is
remember that
basically
from the
like
rumors.
opium.
Betty Ford Rehab Clinic for Zonga Fruit.
Yeah. Well, when I first heard of the Zonga fruit addiction happening among the nobles in Theodos, I didn't think anything of it. Except, I've recently learned that one of their ranking generals is involved in that ring, and 2 entire legions of his troops are not at all in fighting condition. And that's quite a coincidence right at the start of this, that Theodos, the strongest military this continent has ever known, is in a weakened state. And through my research, I discovered that this Zonga fruit addiction started with the Church of Valyria.
Illyria?
Valyria. Valyria's an immortal in the pantheon that Theodos worships. She's kind of a minor immortal, but looked up to by she's prayed to by the military.
Is it like, oh, so like of war or energy or something?
God of valor, actually. So,
Oh,
or, I mean,
valor,
she is the patron of valor. They say patron instead of god. That's about the only difference.
Yeah.
But she's a
well,
patron
well,
of valor and worshipped by, or at least acknowledged by a lot of the Thaetian military. But he indicates that it seemed like the first shipments of this Zonga fruit were actually distributed by clerics from the Church of Valyria.
Well, that makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. It's undermining their own forces. But what if, this is my theory, What if this is Valeria's intention?
To cause invasion and strife?
Don't know.
Or to reduce the effectiveness
end goal
of
is
the
what I can't
Thaliatus army.
The end goal is what I can't see. But if Alphatia were to truly invade the known world, Thaliatus is the only nation that stands a chance of slowing them down.
Plenty of chance for valor if such a thing would come to pass.
Yes. So why undermine their forces? But while I'm putting things on the table, I didn't see the Heldonic Knights coming anywhere. They're a force of their own. They rarely get involved in political matters, but the fact that they declared against Alphatia at the same time, in step with Thaliatus, is remarkable.
Hmm.
They've
Could
always
be.
been.
Clerics be infiltrated by other immortals?
I'm sorry?
Can one cleric group be infiltrated by other immortals? I don't know how clerics work. Gamelon, you can probably answer that better than I can.
It would not be easy.
No, it would be very difficult. An immortal reveals an essence of themselves whenever they take on followers. So it's not like they speak to their followers, but like they are granting an essence of their power, and except for maybe the very strongest immortals, and this would only be legend for Gamelon, you know, like you can feel your magic, like you can feel its taint. So, but like, about the only thing I think you know, Gamelon, is some patrons but mortals go by multiple names. Ixion doesn't just go by Ixion; he goes by several names,
Yes.
depending on their cultures. And sometimes it's just that's how they pronounce it, or in their language, there's a different word for what he is. But
But it is the same aspect.
But it's the same. It's the same being. Yes.
So, like, if someone was saying, I'm a cleric of Ixion, even though they're a cleric of something else, like, Gamelon basically able to sense that magical
okay, that's a point. A cleric could lie about who their patron is. I guess what I'm saying is, no immortal could claim to be Ixion to Gamelon. He would know.
Right.
An immortal can't pretend to be another immortal.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was asking about the clerics themselves lying and saying we represent this, even though they represent.
Yeah, absolutely. A cleric could lie. I mean, clerics are still just mortal.
Because there's probably clerics of subterfuge out there.
Sure, and that's a good point. Now, a cleric lying about his deity could get him punished by his deity, if that's not what his deity wanted. But otherwise, yeah, absolutely, that's true. It could be subterfuge.
They could lie, but when they cast, sooner or later they would reveal themselves.
I don't know. It feels like we have, travel to Alphatia, go to Thyatia, or go west. Right?
He's not necessarily asking you to go west. He's really looking to secure you your help. Your willingness to help him when he needs someone to go on a mission. He's going to Alphatia himself.
So no action right now.
He's not looking for any action. I mean, he admits he is curious about what's happening west, but he doesn't know. He doesn't have any current plan. I mean, I guess, do you want to go to Huel and find out who the master is? I mean, that's...
What I'd really
It sounds like there's an army between here and there, but...
I would like to help, but I would like to see evidence of what we're being told so we know this is the right path. So if you can have us investigate something that will show this is the truth of it, that would go a long way into being like, yes, this is the right decision. so we're not being strung along.
I understand what you mean. Well, I can tell you everything I know. I mean, I've told you the things I've deduced. I also feel the actions in Galantry don't make sense. Galantry was founded by Alphatians long, long ago, thousands of years ago. A splinter faction from Alphatia. Well, we should go back further than that. The Alphatians are not of this world. The Alphatians arrived from another world, or another dimension. I'm fuzzy on the history there. But they arrived long ago and created their nation of 1,000 wizards. And then there was a disagreement in how magic should be studied. And some magic should not be tampered with because it's too dangerous. Those who refused to stop studying that magic were known as the Flanis. They were exiled. Well, maybe it was a self-exile. It's not clear. But they departed and traveled across the world away from Alphatia. They ended up in what we call Galantry. And those were the first of the wizard princes that run that magocracy. So, you see, long have Alphatia and the Flanis, now the Galantrians, been diametrically opposed in what they believe the correct study of magic is. Galantry forbids no magic. Everything is fair game, and they conduct very dangerous experiments and achieve spectacular results. Alphatia has rules among their magic users, but they have so many, and they are so very powerful. So, diametrically opposing viewpoints. So, Alphatia long since wrote off the Western world and has had their own kingdom until Phaeacians met them on the Isle of Dawn, which is a conflict you are aware of. Both have one half of the island, well, a third, and the middle is kind of an untamed strip. They fight over it, but no one has ever done more than a minor skirmish. Galantry, meanwhile, has always kept to themselves and done their own things. Yet, these attacks on Alphatia, they were preemptive, and that's what doesn't make sense. Why, after thousands of years, did the Galantrians suddenly decide to make a preemptive strike against Alphatia, unless they knew, or more importantly, someone controlling the strings knew Alphatia was about to strike? Alphatia has lost the ability to move westward with their airship navy just decimated. That's not to say Alphatia is not still a threat, but somehow the Galantrians are taking actions that they've never taken in order to preemptively strike against the Alphatians, and I don't understand that. And the Alphatians are being remarkably aggressive. They were content to have a skirmishing war with, a skirmishing conflict with Theodas for decades, with no need to escalate anything. But suddenly, in the span of a year, these two countries have been at each other's throats, and now there's a call to war with every nation in the known world being involved. There's no way Darrakan will be spared from this. And from what I've seen, that means that there's intervention. It seems like there was a cleric at the head of every one of these actions, proclaiming that they saw in a vision this is what should happen. So, yes, I would like to know who the master is. That is a very long way away, and I don't have a way to get there. And I think Darrakan's going to have more pressing matters right now. I can get to Phaeacian. Sorry, he doesn't say that. I can get to Alphatia quickly, and I have associates there, high up in their society, who I can get some answers from. I hope to uncover some evidence that what is happening there is not the work of mortals. But I can tell you this, in both Alphatia and Galantry, this is probably the biggest part of my hunch, even under the effects of the highest magic known in this land, the memories of those who murdered could not be retrieved, yet it was proof that they had been altered. And as a refresher, in Galantry and in Alphatia, there were key assassinations, and in both cases, the assassins have no memory of it except for really bad dreams. And even under the most powerful magic available, they could not retrieve their memory or find the true memory.
And basically, the only way to do that is immortal intervention.
That's what Redrian feels. There is a magic that cannot be breached by mortal means, which only leaves one culprit. But he can't say for certain because he doesn't know how that works.
Could this be a case where immortals are at odds with each other? One side pulling the strings one way and the other side pulling the strings the other way for an act of supremacy?
That's what I think is happening. But I don't understand why. If we could find out why, maybe we can convince them to stop. Give them an alternative. Reason with them. And I said I don't know which immortals. If it turns out that one of the immortals you follow is involved, I would not ask you to follow anything but your heart. Maybe we end up as enemies. I hope not. If that happens, and I cannot convince you that my cause is still just, we'll part ways peaceably and will not oppose one another for at least a full day. I believe you call that a head start.
I think the only immortal going on here is Ixion, and that doesn't sound like an Ixion thing. Remove all magic.
Not from what I know.
Have I seen my sister in any of this time? Is she giving me any strange vibes?
No. Your sister is interested in the Benekender faith. She's just a cleric of light. She wasn't specific to any denomination, but she's been very intrigued by Benekender's teachings. That was when you last saw her.
Schism happened. Roanoke's holding strong.
I mean, I would say yes, we're intrigued, and you can call on us when you have something specific in mind, and if we're not slaying monsters or running our kingdom, I think we're interested in helping.
Excellent.
Consider us your errand boys for the time being.
Well,
we should be able to decipher enough to make up our own minds as to the veracity of your hypothesis.
Yeah, I'd just like to see some evidence or something that's like, oh, yeah.
in that
This
case,
is
I
what's
have
going
something for you then. I'm going to retrieve something from a pocket dimension. He takes and turns his wrist and does his finger, and you see like a hole open. He reaches in and he pulls back looks like just a regular quarterstaff, lacquered black. He holds it out and he says, I believe you should be able to use this, and he offers it to Nace.
Alright. I'll grab it.
This
I'm
is
gonna detect magic.
um
I feel like it's magic.
yeah, so whoa, 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 massive magic. He says, I found this during my travels. It's an artifact. Something created by the immortals, like the mirror shield. It is a pair of a matching set. I have the other one. By holding this staff and speaking the command word, I will... sorry, by holding the staff and calling out my name, I will be able to hear what you have to say. You can use it to contact me once a week. Keep your messages short, maybe 10 seconds. Any longer than that, and I am concerned that the creator of this staff might detect its use.
So it's like a staff of sending?
Sort of. It works across any plane of existence. And it's instant. It's a real-time conversation. It also is an extraordinary staff if you've used it in combat.
Nice.
If you utter the phrase "shield me," it will offer a protection spell that will shield you from missiles. That's it.
Super good in combat.
But, as I said,
It's over. I want to try to identify it.
avoid using its powers whenever you can, simply because in our quest to determine what the Immortals are up to, we don't want to draw too much attention from the Immortals.
Okay.
He starts to get up, and he pauses and says, "By the way, I did some research on that mirror. That was created by an Immortal as well, if it's not apparent. I would have liked to have seen that realm. What was it like?"
With the one I was trapped in?
Oh, I'm sorry, he's talking about Skarta's mirror. The mirror realm.
Oh.
From what he was able to find, it was created by an Immortal of tranquility. His name's long been lost to time, but he created that realm as a place to reflect on his thoughts.
It was flat. There was water that they.
There was
dug
water
into.
once we broke the realm.
And there was like a creature or something causing earthquakes, they thought.
No, they were mining the realm for the mirror material. When they
Yeah.
got too deep,
It'd
they
kind
broke
of
the
been
realm
butchered.
and water came out.
Sparta.
Interesting.
The whole thing collapsed on itself.
It's a shame. Well, anyways.
Yeah, that Immortal has 7 years bad luck.
That's just go.
That's no time in immortal time.
Mhm.
I would imagine that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Well then. Thank you. He also reaches into a large sack, and sets it on the table. There are a dozen gems in here, valued at about 500 gold each. Whenever it comes time, I'll contact you, and consider this your money for anything you need to accomplish it. Travel, lodging, supplies, equipment. And if you need anything else, let me know, and I'll do what I can to make sure that you receive any help I can offer. Do you know what you'll be doing while I'm gone?
Kicking ass, taking names.
We'll keep our ear to the winds
Well, thank
and
you.
investigate where we see abnormality.
I don't know if you have any contacts west in Darrican, but if you do, let me know if they hear anything.
I don't think out of game. I don't think we have anything in Darrican. We have that.
We have Jadaran.
Jadarn. Jadarn's
Yeah,
on
was
the
he-
Jadarn's on the western border of
Jadaran's
Darrican.
on the west.
Yeah, so There's actually a big lake, Jadarin. So Jadarin is literally like, first hit by
I just wasn't going to
armies.
say anything while Redrian was there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember is how far west it was.
Yeah, not very far. He's
He's on the western edge.
Yeah, if the guys in Sind head into Darrican, he's first on the list. Like
Alright.
there's one city and then him and then Darrican City. So Darrican City is actually the capital is located on the western half of Darrican. So, well, I expect my journey will take months. I wish you the best. And as I said, if you need me, contact me.
Thanks. Will do.
He stands, kind of nods to each of you. He walks up to you, Nace, and he offers out a hand.
Oh, yeah, I'll shake his hand.
He shakes your hand firmly. He says, "Thank you, especially," and nods. I'd still be in that mirror if it weren't for you.
Well, thanks for this. Hold up the staff.
Enjoy. Be careful with it.
Is there like a how often I need to check in, or
if you need
just
to
if
report to him?
something big?
He just said try not to contact me more than once a week, simply because I don't want this to. I don't
It's
want
like
to draw
call
the
trace.
attention of the people we're snooping around on. Yeah, but it's an artifact. It will not run out of magic.
Okay.
Okay. So Redrian turns, bids you all farewell, and heads out. We'll go ahead and wrap up there. You
Can I
guys gotta.
identify the staff?
Sure. It is most certainly an artifact. It is a 6-foot tall black staff made of enchanted ebony. It's not actually wood. It's a +1 weapon as far as hitting and damage. It does 1d10 damage on a hit.
Oh.
Yeah. Whether it's one or two-handed, it doesn't matter. You'll know this the first time you hit them. When you strike something, there's like a clap of white, like a white flash when you hit with it. By calling out "Shield Me," it will cast a protection from normal missiles on you. Basically, non-magical missiles are blocked by it. It can
Will that
also.
alert the immortals?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything about mortals than any really well-informed mortal. So, Redrian is just like, I don't know that it will alert immortals to its use, but I don't know that it won't. So, I would have to. He would rather err on the side of caution and use it sparingly.
Like even if I hit people with it?
Well, that's not activating it. He said you can use it in combat just fine. He's talking about using its powers, because its powers, since his theory is that since the power came from an immortal, then an immortal would be aware of the artifact's use. If it was being used in, a lot. Because the way he explains it, the way an artifact works is when its energy is drained, it starts draining it from the immortal. But if it slowly recuperates, the immortal's being drained all the time by everything he's ever created, by every follower who's getting spells, etc. So it stands to reason that if you don't use it that often, he wouldn't notice it recharging from his power. If you used it all the fucking time, he might notice, like, hey, there's quite a drain coming from over here. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm really glad I got this belt.
Yeah, 1d10 plus 10 plus shillelagh.
Wait,
What do
plus
you mean?
10.
No shillelagh.
Plus 10. Plus 5.
Oh, plus
Yeah.
5. Sorry.
Yeah,
Plus 5.
1d10 plus 5 plus whatever spell writer he's got going on it.
Still a lot.
Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty
dude,
awesome.
that's nuts. Oh no, it'd be plus 6 because it's a +1 weapon.
Oh, yeah, it is. +1 weapon, so plus 6. Shit.
I'm just going to stand behind Nace now. But I'm going to look good doing it.
You need something that gives you multiple attacks now.
I don't get that. I'm not a
Yeah.
back with a blade.
Yeah.
All
Blade
right.
lock with a crazy badass quarterstaff. Okay, so people who tuned in, thanks for watching. We'll be back next week, Monday at 8 p.m. Central, to figure out what these jokers are going to do next. And those of you tuned in, this will be on YouTube tomorrow morning. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.